Hi, and welcome back to day 3 of Classical Coffee. I'm here in Janice Weber's house, our guest artist for this upcoming concert. And we've just been working through, first go through the concerto, and thought I would just ask her a few questions and let her give us her insights into MacDowell and the nature of this. So Janice, we've just been chatting about who MacDowell was and his unusual life. Why don't you just give us a little bit of your insights into what this concerto is all about?
The concerto is deceptively difficult because there are many. If you play the Rachmaninoff, you know what the orchestra is doing because you're helping them out. But if you're doing where am I? So it's difficult. And there are many transitional changes that are really tricky for the conductor and the orchestra. In the second movement scherzo, that comes up very quickly.
As I was saying, it's very surprising to the orchestra too, because they're sitting with all these rests and then they have to jump in.
Yeah, and there's a lot of the great bravura of the time. For instance, who would write this anymore? That sounds a little bit like Greek, but it's just so open and it's just not hard on your sleeve. And
well, you used a word about him that's sort of childlike, and that there's a tenderness and an unpretentiousness to this music that is really very captivating to me.
And you know, Raff was his teacher in Raff in Germany, and many orchestrational kinds of things I hear him very much. And it goes in kind of square, I wouldn't say square, but in predictable meters.
Right,
you know, there are no big tricky things, which is good, actually.
Nothing like in Brahms, for instance, where there's
very little hemiola, there's very little complication. And that's helpful, because that's what makes the concerto so open.
Well, you know, we were talking about the nature of this music, and it's the concerto. He wrote 2 concerti, but he's most famous for all the piano pieces that he wrote and songs and everything. And he was really into fairy tales. He was into early Americana, into Native American stories.
Simple and true.
Very much.
And true. And also, I think he was very much influenced by what people could play at the time. For instance, if you're a teacher and you have mostly women students who view this as finishing school, you can't write things too difficult. But of course, this concerto is dedicated to one of the great virtuoso woman pianists of the time, Teresa Carreño. So there he kind of said, okay, I can do it if I need to.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Well, we were also commenting that MacDowell did the proper thing. He did the right thing. At the time that he was born, in the mid-19th century, all musical wisdom came from Europe. And so he was born in Boston, but he took off to Europe and studied and wound up marrying his wife, who was a piano student of his while he was there, and living in Germany for a time until financial issues really forced him to come back. But he really absorbed that whole, he was in Heidelberg and just absorbed that whole tradition.
Stunning.
But he still keeps his own voice in all of this. It doesn't sound, it sounds a little bit like Liszt, a little bit like Grieg, but the phrasing and everything is uniquely his. So what challenges have been for you in learning this concerto?
Well, I think that whenever a pianist composes, you can see if they had a certain kind of technique. Rachmaninoff, obviously, with all those passing notes, you have that, and with Chopin, you know, you have the large things. But I think, for instance, I have this page open. Okay, what is that? But it's between the 2 hands.
Yeah.
So this was a common, I wouldn't say trick, but a common device at the time. So it sounds bigger than it's supposed to be. Therefore, since its texture is lighter, the orchestration has to be a bit lighter, which explains why there's a whole lot of dialogue between, you play, then I play. Then
that's one of the things that makes that second movement so challenging, is because even though it's going very fast, they're all in 2-bar phrases.
Yes.
So it's this and orchestra, piano, orchestra, piano, that dialogue constantly. So it's a little bit like skating on ice. You've got to keep your edge or you'll slip off.
That's right. But it has the wonderful, it's got the scherzo, it's got, kind of a slow movement to begin, it's got the wonderful ending, so it's a happy concerto.
It is. There's very, even though it's in D minor, it really, one doesn't come away with an element of sadness. It's very uplifting and enjoyable, very unique, and it's got huge. It's as big as Rachmaninoff at times in sort of the power and impact.
Exactly, exactly.
It's a piece that I think everyone's really going to enjoy. Very, very
Yes.
passionate and enjoyable and fun
And
as
fun,
well.
and fun.
Well, thank you
Exactly.
very
Thanks,
much.
David.
Looking forward to it.
Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.